Airport. We've got a 349 over there. Welcome to night shift. Charlotte Douglas International Airport is one of America's busiest, handling over 100,000 passengers every single day. And over the past few years, air traffic has skyrocketed, reaching about 4.7 billion passengers in 2024, significantly higher than pre-2020. And the growth isn't slowing down. This is why nearly every major airport is under construction, with Charlotte Douglas being no exception. Not only does this mean new terminals and gates, but new runways. This project is a $1 billion effort to build a new 10,000-foot by 150-foot wide runway in between two existing runways on the airport's western side.
Friday, Charlotte Douglas posting on X details about its fourth runway. The 10,000-foot runway will start servicing departing flights in 2027. It's equipped with a new aircraft rescue and firefighting station, as the airport looks to enhance capacity and overall safety.
With completion set in a few years, the project will allow more planes in and out and make the other runways more efficient. While a long strip of concrete seems somewhat simple, it's anything but, requiring top-notch contractors with worthy resumes. And that brings us to ES Wagner, founded in 1947. They have moved a lot of dirt in their day, including the earth for the third parallel runway at Charlotte Douglas International. That project required over 8 million yards of earthwork, with ES Wagner using a remarkably cool and rare Holland belt loader to do the heavy lifting. Decades later, ES Wagner is back for number 4, and with that, let's get out to site to see what they're doing. That's pretty cool. We came here specifically for night shift, which will be at about 7 p.m., but we got into town a little early, so we're gonna start this video with day shift. How do you build a new runway? Well, the first step is earthworks. That's why we're here. How appropriate. We are in between two of the existing runways. There's 3 total here. This will be the 4th parallel runway. There is plenty of cut here, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of yards that needs to be removed here and hauled to another part of the site. But once they have brought this entire area down to that elevation, those little tractors take over, they're seeding everything, and they will let it sit there until the next phase of the project, where they will lime treat that and eventually pave it for the new runway. So right where we're standing, we'll have planes on it in a few years. to get down to grade, we have a Caterpillar 390 excavator running about a 9-yard bucket, filling these Caterpillar ejector trucks. ES Wagner uses some fun equipment, and I've always wanted to see them for that reason. These ejector trucks, it's the first time I've ever seen them. They are incredibly, incredibly rare. So the excavator is picking up about 9 to 10 foot from that bench down to almost grade, loading these trucks to about 34 cubic yards each. They're being very careful not to spill the dirt over, not to overload the trailers, because they have to cross an active taxiway and cannot spill any dirt. So that's why they're not loading these to absolute capacity like they would on a typical project, because they want the dirt to stay there. These trailers were originally designed by John Moyna, MTS CJ Moyna in Iowa. We went to their amazing, amazing museum. You can see that video here. Spectacular. They also build equipment, of course, and this is one of those pieces of equipment that they've built. It's essentially like a scraper, and articulated dump truck had a child, so it is a dump truck body with a scraper ejector. 8 tires to every trailer, and we'll show you, once we get to the fill, how they dump. How can you tell it's an airport project? Well, besides all of the planes taking off right behind us, if you look closely on each machine, you'll see that orange and white checkered flag. That's because heavy equipment is really, really hard to spot. It's very inconspicuous. So at every airport project, it's required to have those flags on top so the pilots can see, oh my gosh, there's a piece of heavy equipment right in front of me.
Mountains, we've got to get through to Chicago.
And every accident is prevented. Why are they using 2 different types of trucks? Well, the eject trucks are going across the active taxiway to the fill on the other side. Those trucks are great for that application because the dirt can stay within them. They're nice and tidy, and they don't track as much across that taxiway, which is obviously a huge concern with planes using it as well. So the smaller tires, better for that application. Those are running off-site to that fill. Now, in the rectangle that we're in right now, we also have a cut-to-fill operation. We've got a 349 over there picking up a little bit of material alongside a D6, loading these 745s with it, and then they're making the short haul over to here where that D9 is knocking down the piles for this stockpile area off to the side of where that new runway is going to be. There are 2 taxiways to get the plane traffic from the far runway to and from the terminal. This is one of the 2. Yep, that's a plane right there. But the only way across is across that taxiway. So the eject truck traffic has to wait for the planes. The planes obviously have the right of way. Once the plane goes through there, the truck is clear to go. The truck will go across to the fill, dump its load, then come back, wait for planes, cross to the cut, around and around they go. That's just so cool. To keep it nice and tidy, they'll have an air hose to blow anything off the back of the truck if there is anything there, but the excavator operator's keeping it nice and tidy. And then we have a backhoe with a broom that runs back and forth all day long to make sure there's no chunks of dirt on that taxiway so that the planes have no problem crossing.
What's he doing up there? What's he doing?
What is that? What is going on here? Hey, what are you doing? We've loaded the trucks, crossed the active taxiway. Now we are at the fill. This is at one end of the new runway. That ejector truck is dumping, and you can see it's being pulled by that articulated truck, but it's working like a scraper. You've got that apron that comes up, and then you've got that ejector pushing the material out the front of the truck, just like a scraper, laying it all out across the fill. Once it's done, the ejector will draw back in, the apron will go down, and that dozer, that compactor will knock it all down, roll it, bring it to compaction. That truck is then back to the excavator for another load. Wow, I didn't know. Yeah, they all leave at the same time. We're in North Carolina. You can tell it's North Carolina by this red dirt. It's very pretty, but it's terrible to work with. It's a beautiful day right now. We tried to come out here a few months ago. It rained. When it rains, this place goes to, you know the word. They can't sometimes work on this material for up to 10 days after a good rain because it gets so soft, the trucks can't make their way through it. So this dry, sunny day weather is absolutely beautiful, perfect for this kind of earthwork. Because you tough guys on the internet say I don't have my facts straight, instead of watching planes take off for the next few hours, which is what I want to do, let's go to the office to look at the plans and explain what the heck's going on a grander scale. So the terminal, obviously, existing runway, that's where we're watching the planes take off
right here.
and land. Excavator was somewhere in here?
Yep, real close to that.
Okay.
Right out in here in the cut.
So, so the red is the cut, obviously. I see. So there's quite a bit of fill here too.
Then tonight the 773s will be filling in here in this old basin.
So there's rock on the job too?
Oh yeah. Yeah, this whole front section of the cut was rock.
Ah.
So you'll see that tonight.
So that's why you had to go easy on the powder, because your taxiway's right there.
Right.
I see.
Even though we were blasting at night, Sometimes we had a closure, sometimes we didn't.
Wow.
Just
So
depending on the night.
you were shooting while that taxi was potentially open?
Correct.
Oh, wow. So you couldn't have anything go anywhere close to there?
Nope.
Wow. That is amazing. The traffic from that runway, that's the far runway.
Correct.
That you guys built in 2007?
Correct.
It's still going to have to cross this
Correct.
new runway.
Yep, so they'll come down until you get to these taxiways. Then they can go either way. So you got a taxiway on either side of the new runway.
Oh,
So we built this section out here. This is taxiway Victor. And we built these crossovers to the existing runway. So now Ames's contract comes down through here and extends Victor down to the end of this existing runway, okay? So that's one package there.
Okay.
Then you have the north end around taxiway.
Okay.
That
Which
brings
you
it
guys
around,
did.
Which we did, correct.
And highway.
Then there's an extension. That's another project that we're currently just getting started on. And then you have the seat project, which Ames has, which we'll be getting started shortly.
After wrapping up with day shift, we got a quick dinner and returned for the good stuff, night shift.
Welcome to night shift. It is 7:45 in the evening. The night crew has fired up. This is the first operation of the evening. We have a Caterpillar 374 behind me, loading brokered on-road trucks. It's 3 passing each truck, and then these trucks here are hauling to the end around at the very south end of the future runway. Where we are right now is where we roughly were earlier today with the 390. You can't really tell because it's dark, but planes are taking off right there. Still Charlotte International Airport, still moving dirt. Wrap up at the 349, 2 questions to answer. One, why are the trucks not down there? Well, it's because it's way too wet. Trucks would be stuck, the place would be a mess. So they're keeping the trucks up here, top loading, trucks are moving, no dramas whatsoever. Second, why are they running nights? Well, 2 things. One, it allows them to move more dirt. 2, it allows them to put the on-road trucks on the road without the traffic during the day. And then 3, they have a little bit more flexibility with air traffic being a little lower overnight. They can do a little bit more in the night than they can during the day. So they had 1 spread running today, while they have 3 spreads running tonight, doing a lot more work. This is the rocky part of the project. It's all been blasted, but not too blasted because there is an active taxiway right there and they don't want to risk throwing rocks that way while planes have to use it. So it's a little chunky, requiring some big equipment. We've got the same 390 that was on day shift earlier, picking through this rock. We've got a D9 down there feeding the operator some material, and he's loading these 773 rigid frame trucks. The 773s obviously are better for rock because they can dump. Rock's not a problem. The ejector trucks couldn't handle those big chunks that are getting loaded right now. These 773s then are going across the same taxiway that we crossed earlier today. and are dumping just on the other side, which we'll go to after we check out some footage of this machine doing what it's doing. If we showed this footage out of context, but like, yeah, you're at a mine or a quarry or something like that, but the airport is right there. It's just nuts. Why'd the 773 cross the taxiway? To go to the fill. Cut to the fill. That's a plane taking off, and that's the fill, the D9T babysitting it. We have got our 773s from the rock cut and some of the trucks from the other cut as well, rolling in here, dropping their material off right here, and then we've got the D9 placing that material in this fill area here. This isn't structural fill, this is just where they're leveling things out, getting rid of that rock, making it all nice and pretty. They'll seed it eventually, and this will be a retaining pond when they're done with it. And before we call it a day or night, it's been a long day, that D9 looks a little funny because it doesn't have a ripper. So instead of that ripper, that tractor has to be balanced. It's designed for that weight of that ripper to be hanging off the back of it to counteract the weight of the blade airplane. So when you remove the ripper, because they don't really need it here in North Carolina, they have to fit additional counterweight on the back of that machine to ensure it's balanced. We are gonna go to bed, but before we do, we wanted to thank ES Wagner for having us. Thank you very much. Appreciate you watching. See you next time. Stay dirty.